I am Bootsy Collins. I'm a bass player, and I've been a musician ever since I was like, I guess, what you say, 12, 13 years old. I went out on the road with the Christian Airs. That's where I started with the gospel, playing gospel, and started kind of graduating from there. And I've been in the business. I'm 73 now, so how many ever years that is. I didn't go too far in school, so I can't count that much. But that's who I am, and that's where I came from.
Okay. And you could describe funk in a few words. How would you describe it?
Funk for me, if you're just talking about music, and that's something I have been debating with, because I think funk is deeper than just about music. Funk is where you come from. And funk is making something out of nothing. And that's what we all did. It ain't like something I invented. It's when you don't have nothing, that's when you start to do for yourself and others. And you come up with some of the greatest stuff. If you think back, all the amazing cats and chicks was, they started out with nothing. It's the same thing in sports too. So, funk is making something out of nothing.
So funk is such a revolutionary genre. What point of your career felt like a turning point to, I guess, being successful? Because I know sometimes as an artist you may not know right off bat what's going on, but was there something that happened or a show or something?
I think, well, I know that when we got with James Brown, we was considered, bad, like these boys, but we had to earn the rep. We came in on, and they was already, James Brown, they was already James Brown. So we had to come in to learn as opposed to come in and show y'all the way, So I think it was better for us coming in, like we come in to learn, from the master.
Pacemakers, right?
Yeah, pacemaker. And we was all from Cincinnati here, and when we came in, like I said, I think we had the right attitude to actually absorb the things around us. Other than that, we would have been the hard head, knuckleheads that we really were, out on the street. And I feel like James Brown came and saved us, from the street. So, yeah.
So with you all being from the Pacemakers being from Cincinnati, how do you guys meet to form the band? Was it hanging out, mutual friends, or?
I think all the musicians kind of got hip to each other, and I was more like the baby boy, like everybody else was from 8 to 20 years older than I was out on the, on the Chitlin circuit. So, by my brother being out in it, 8 years before I even thought of it, I wanted to be like him, and I wanted to hang with his friends, not my age. My age was they wasn't there. They wasn't cool. I liked to hang with the cool brothers, the ones that had the swag and the outfits and the hair fried, dyed, and laid to the side, So I wanted to be like that, and my brother was like that, so I followed him. We didn't have a father in the home, so my brother was the man, He was the one I looked up to.
Tell us a little bit about King Record.
Oh man, yeah, that was a good one. That was another part of that journey that you go in to learn, and getting in there was probably one of the hardest things to do, because if you wasn't with nobody, we wasn't with James Brown yet. It was like, I was like about 15 years old when we started hanging out over at King's, trying to meet people, and they always wanted to throw us out because they didn't know when the heck we were, and so we still trying to find ourselves, and we trying to get in. And finally, this A&R guy named Charles Sperling, he came and heard us at a club, and he was the A&R man for King. And that's the way that we got our feet in the door, was through him, and him inviting us over and being his rhythm section. That's how we got in. Once we got in there, we just did the work. We started doing a bunch of sessions, and everybody started wanting us to play with them because we had this new energy, this new vibe. And that's how James Brown heard about us, because he recorded there. And he started hearing about this young group, the Pacemakers, and that started going around the studio, and everybody started wanting us to be the session band. And, next thing you know, it was Hank Ballard. Hank Ballard was the one we first went out on the road with. Most people don't know that, and then Marvel Whitney, this was before James Brown, so, we was being prepped and didn't even know it. Yeah.
That's dope. I know you described funk as a feeling versus a sound. Has it ever, I know your journey has been long. Yeah. Has there ever been a point in your career where you felt like you might have lost that feeling or passion?
Oh yeah. I think when you start making it, so-called making it, it's like you get so used to that. It's like I'll tell you exactly what it's like. And I hope they don't beep it out, but they might. It's like your first relationship with a chick, It's like the first one is like, that's the best. I mean, you can't do no better, but you always feel like you can, and you go through the relationship, you go through it, and you get to a point where, it's like, dang, I want to try something else, and then you start playing on the chick, and that's actually where I'd Rather Be With You come from. Those experiences, of me out there playing around, thinking I was like a serious player.
After you get done playing, you feel a little bad about it.
I feel real bad, it's like that your conscience, you got the devil on you. You got the devil in you. So, those are the things I think that kind of drew me in. Once you get to that successful thing, it's like, dang, is this it? I mean, I do everything, anything I want to do, and then you start running from the fans. When that started happening to me, I knew, because I was always a fan, I was like a fan, and I'm always in the crowd, Yeah. And it's like, when I started running from them, I knew that it was something wrong with me, I didn't blame it on nobody else. It was all about me, and so then you try to figure out how to calm it down, cool it down, but you can't. When you hot, and everybody, and they ain't gonna leave you alone. We used to come home, on the bus. Had our bus, we had the mothership, but we had the space base, which was my bus. And I'd come home no matter what time in the morning, like 3, 4 in the morning, when everybody's supposed to be asleep. They were all lined up around the house. Bootsy. I got so sick and tired of hearing Bootsy. It's like, man. So, but you don't know that. I mean, you don't know it hits you like that until it do. And if you look at all the different artists, at some point, they get hit, with that, and it's all pretty much the same thing with everybody. Nobody gets away with it. Everybody goes through that. And certain people handle it in different ways. Usually we use drugs, and that's pretty much what we did.
I was gonna ask you, how do you get back into that space where, you felt whole again in a sense, or you felt that it was back?
My mother always told me, when I get to the place where, you feel like you can't do nothing about it, and you're in a situation, she said, just stop everything. Just stop. She said, no matter what, just stop it. And I was making $100,000 each stadium I played in at this point, and people started thinking I was crazy because I was like, y'all can have the money. I just want to break. I want to, when I used to wake up, the mug had his mic in my face talking, interviewing, and it's like, I'm trying to get some sleep. But, you could not get a break, and you shouldn't, you shouldn't even want a break because that's what you was driving for. But for me, I've always wanted to just be like my brother. I didn't know exactly what success was, or how that even works, but so it snuck up and blindsided me, and like, I didn't come out here for that, I come out here to have fun with my people, because that's all me and my brother used to do, was throw parties and, have fun, that to me, and that whole money thing wasn't in style until the next era, really. My era, money was cool, but 25 cents for a gallon of gas, 10 cents, no, 8 cents for White Castle. Oh man, we was living in $2 or $3. We cool, some wine. Oh man, so it was like that, and it wasn't about success, because I didn't never think about success. I just wanted to play with my brother and have a good time.
So when you became successful, I know you said it blindsided you. Did you feel successful before that point?
I felt like, really, to tell you the truth, I didn't even look at it like that. I just felt like, I'm gonna go out here and do what I do, and it was, do you want to be successful? I didn't even think about none of that. All I was into was, I'm going out here to wear these mugs out. I'm going to do my thing on stage, and that to me is like what got me through. And that's what built to the success that I didn't even ask for, but I was blessed with it, and I had to start learning how to deal with it, because nobody gives you a manual on that, how to act and how to, or Motown them used to, but they, we didn't never get that information, so, and even there, I mean, you still, success, nobody gets around it, once you start making it like that, I'll be waiting on you. Got the sludge hammer. Oh, I'm gonna get this motherfucker. Yeah.
I've always wanted to ask you this. I'm a little 37, so I've got to grow up with my parents and aunts and uncles playing music and stuff, and I always wondered, where do you get your sense of style? And because it's such an original vibe, and I always wanted to know what was your inspiration?
I always wanted to be fly. I mean, like I said, my brother and them, they was in the age bracket where, they were so cool. And then you had the jazz brothers. The brothers talking about, yeah, cat, that's the cat, yeah, And they had all that that real cool lingo, and I hung around with those musicians. I didn't know what I was doing, but I got a chance to hang around and befriend some of the great ones, and I wasn't nobody, you know. And so, I just, you get the Little Richards, James, Elvis, all these mugs was like, everybody loved to dress, Well, I can't say everybody, but the special ones, Jimmy, Sly, all these mugs, had a thing and they wanted to dress and it was their thing, so I wanted my thing, and Jenny Brown cut the song with Lynn, I think it was Lynn Collins. Or was it Marvel? No, it's probably Marvel Whitney. It's my thing, do what I want to do. And that's what time that was, So I started searching out who can make this and who can make that, And once it started, you can't stop it, Yeah.
I love it. I was asking myself, every time I see you in a different top hat or a set of glasses, I always say, like, man, I wonder what his closet looks like. Where to keep all these hats?
I keep everything, man. All the equipment, the hats, the clothes, the shoes. I try to keep it. It's. I guess I got that from my mother. I try to get her like a new bedroom. She had this old, dresser and, whole bed and, she loved it so much she didn't want nothing new. Well, I can't say she didn't want nothing new, but she didn't want, her room, full of new stuff because that old stuff was the bomb, and I think I got that from her. Yeah.
That's cool. Like I said, I always wonder, like, when I see, you have like hundreds of them probably at this point.
Well, I got, and we got stuff stored away, but it's like, I can get hands on it quick, Yeah.
Okay, tell me a little bit about Miss Patty, your wife. I know you have been married a long time. Yeah. Where'd you guys meet at?
Actually, I was working out. I used to do that seriously. I was working out trying to get these demons off of me, the drug thing. I was trying to get clean, and actually, she was probably the first one that really helped me stop messing with so many chicks, and realize that, that fantasy is over. That happened when I had an accident on a motorcycle. I had about seven bikes and, trail bikes, motorbikes, trike. And that's what I used to love to do, just to get the air in my hair, and, just get away from it all. And so, riding those bikes and exercising was my first step, I think, towards healing. I didn't even know I was sick, but I was sick because I had to have it, and I think the first thing you need to do is realize that you gotta have it, and so the more I talked about healing and getting healed with her and our friends, and the people I ran into, the more I talked about it, I think the better I felt about myself. And, she was so with me that I had never had a chick that was so dedicated to try to help me. She knew I was toe up. She knew I was messing around, but yet and still, she stayed, and with her doing that, on the backside of it, I'm like, I gotta straighten up, and God made a way. I had that accident and that was the best thing could ever happen. I had another chick on the back, and she could have been killed. I could have been killed, the accident we had. But my shoulder got, popped out. Well, they had to put staples and screws, and they told me I wasn't gonna be able to use my right arm no more. And that's my plan, And so when they told me that, I knew it was over. I knew it was the road plan. I knew it was through. And but to my surprise, a few of the friends that I had been talking up, and giving them the info about what was happening to me, they came back and kind of gave me the same rap I was giving them. And that gave me hope, that I could be able to play again someday. And that's when I started working out. I started getting my arm together, and the doctor told me I would never be able to lift it over my head again. And he also told me I definitely wouldn't be able to play bass, So I wanted to prove him wrong, and I did. But I had a lot of help. I couldn't do it by myself. Yeah.
And so, Pat, would you say Patty was like one of those people that you could say was a huge influence on who you are today?
Yeah, cause it's like she kept me, grounded, as opposed to doing the wild thing. It started to make sense to me that I shouldn't be out there doing the wild thing anyway. I had my fun, So, yeah, she helped me a lot, Yeah, she really did. And she still does,
She's been great while we've been here.
Yeah. And, it's like I took her out of her gig. She was like doing aerobics, and that's where we met, because she worked at the place where I worked out at. And I didn't want to see no more girls. I was like done. It's like I'm trying to get a break. I gotta get myself together. And then this dude wanted to introduce me to her. I was like, no, I don't want to meet no more chicks. He knew who I was, but I was trying to tell him to keep it on the low, because I don't want to, nobody to know this is me, So I would go up there dressed real as regular with the sweats, and plus I lived out here at that time. So it was like, nobody, ain't nobody gonna know who I am. So I walk in there, and the first guy is a white guy. He walked up to me and said, "Ain't you Bootsy Collins?" I was like, damn. I knew I had blew it then, because once he said that, I was like, okay, everybody gonna know it. So I talked to him and told him what I was trying to do. And he said, okay, I won't tell nobody. He said, but it's this one chick over there that's, doing aerobic. You gotta see her, man. He just convinced me that I gotta see her, and he said, I'm gonna go ahead and get her for you. I was like, no, man, don't, He was helping me out, so he went and got her, So that's where it all started.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. Oh, that's my dude. He'll forever be my dude for hooking me up.
So you've always been about collaborating and working with others. What would you say is important with like collaborating with life and music, just in general? What do you say is like the key to having like a healthy relationship when it comes to business and life?
Wow, business and life. I think people now got a better chance because you know everything. I mean, if you don't know everything, you can know.
Get the information.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we really didn't have. We actually had to be somewhere to learn something, or, investigate it for real, or have it investigated. Now all you got to do is pick up the phone and you got info, instant info. We didn't have that. we actually had to go through the experience of learning, it's like when they say, oh, why don't you just go get lost? They didn't have to tell us to get lost because we love getting lost. That was the experience of getting back, with the chick. You got the chick in the car, and it's like he lost and the chick is screaming, man, don't you know where you're going? It's like, no, I don't know where I'm going. You can't just pop a GPS up there and, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. No, we lost, baby, and that was a good thing. Nowadays it's totally different, so yeah, I don't know how I got sidetracked on that, but I just remember getting lost was fun.
Man, that's cool. I was gonna say, with the new album that you're working on, I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh man. First of all, you gotta get, I guess, energized, and you gotta receive what the universe has for you, because whatever it is a gift, and we are transmitters and receivers. So this was my chance to receive. You only get so many chances, and again, I don't count how many chances I have. It's just, I know you only get so many. And this one comes to you. When this comes to you, you know it. Okay, I got a chance to do this record, and then you got to find out what it's going to be about, and you got to ask the higher self what it's going to be about. Each song, you got to call for it. You got to search for it. It ain't like everything is kind of like given to you like in the older days. It's already there, ready to go. Songs popping everywhere, babies popping. I mean, everything popping, but when you get older, you have to really dig, for those things, those gems, and it just felt good digging for these.
I was gonna ask how different is it recording and making an album in 2025 or releasing the album in 2025? I know that you probably started working on it a few years ago.
Right.
But from the 70s and 80s to now, like, how has your process evolved?
Well, I tell you straight up, it's like different than night and day, because I always had a band with me, or the band was always with me, and so anything that we come up with, we rehearse it right on the spot, rehearse it. Now it's totally different because you can do everything inside the box and you can do everything by yourself.
And remote too.
And remote, yeah. So, and I did both of those on this album.
How'd you like that process of like recording with other people, but them not being in the studio with you?
Well, you have to learn how to accept it. For me now, I've learned how to grasp pretty much any and everything, because I know that everything we grab now is a lesson in it. When you're coming up, you don't know that. You're just going for it. So, but now I know it's different.
Are there any collaborations on the album that you are excited for other people to hear?
Yeah. Actually, I'm excited to see the excitement of all of the shit. Because, I recorded it different. It wasn't like recording at United Sound. I did a lot of it here. I did a lot of it over in the home studio. And then other collaborators, we kind of did like over the phone. We did, I send them the song, they send me the stems that they did. So it was a whole nother process. And this guy, Matthew Whitaker. I don't know. Have you heard of him? He's keyboard player, organ player, jazz. I mean, killer. He's like a young Stevie Wonder. He got me on the phone, and I had never did this before. He talked me through how he wanted to do this session, putting keyboards on a track, and he was telling me what to do and what he was doing, all on the phone, and he made it happen. He was his engineer. He did it all himself. It was amazing. I didn't even know that was possible. And we most recently did another one, but I knew, I knew what was happening. I didn't know how to do it myself, but with him doing it, it was cool. Yeah.
It's part 2.
What's that? Oh my God. Wow. But yeah, cool, man. You definitely got the right question.
Hey man, I'm just trying to do the best, man.
Yeah.
I know you had a few interviews up in. Trying to do my research and just do my homework and try to ask questions that are,
I'm saying, a little different.
And what I could tell you, you definitely been, schooled and getting it all happening.
Okay, bro. Okay, let's see.
we just ended on the album. Okay. So with social media being such a pivotal part in like the music industry nowadays and trends and all these things, how do you stay like authentic to like your sound and your message and not be wavered or thrown off by that?
Well, when you really got a thing, everybody now, it's like playing the same sounds, the same, same everything, because it's coming from the same source. I already had a source, and it comes from that same source now. What I have to do is learn what's happening now and embrace it. And that's what I've been doing. Of course you can always learn more, but this album for me is just another step in that direction, to learn more about how music is done today. And this for me has been that kind of experience, and it feels good to me knowing that I got something to reach for, because when you don't know that there's something else, you stop, and I ain't thinking about stopping. I love, music. I love producing it. I love being a part of it. I ain't got to be the leader. I just want to be a part of it. Just like I wanted to be follow my brother. So I'm still following him.
It's funny because we were actually digitizing some of the old videos you had.
Yeah.
One of the music videos popped up, and I don't think it was ever released, but it was really cool how they did it, and it was kind of groundbreaking for its time.
Yeah.
With the visual effects and how they were just kind of doing their thing, and it's just cool to hear how you talk about that now.
Right.
The social media age, and you were kind of already ahead of your time.
Yeah. Back then is I always looked at it like it can only help you to collaborate with young musicians, and James Brown showed us that. He might not have wanted to show us, but he showed us that by grabbing us, because we was young out on the street, and he pulled us in. And I guess that's part of that is in, I always want to be with the young vibe, because it keeps you young.
He always tackled, I guess, the unity with the community and like the culture.
Yeah.
I know it's always been like a part of like who you are, even in your videos and in your music.
Yeah.
If there were some themes or topics in today's society that you would do songs about, what might they be?
Free speech. As a matter of fact, that's what we're working on now. I have recorded probably about 10 to 12 songs that I wish could go on this album. Because if your album hangs around too long, you know, especially with somebody like myself that I do music pretty much every day. And it's like, you know, how long am I gonna have to listen to my album, you know, before everybody else gets to see it, you know? So that's one of the driving forces of, you know, coming up with new music. It's like between 24 and 25, you know, I've recorded so much new stuff. It's like, dang, I already got the new album, you know, and the new album ain't even been out yet. So, you know, that kind of messed with me a little bit, but, you know, sometimes there's nothing you can do, you know. So this time it was something I could do, was just record it, you know, and that's what I've been doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how has I guess from, when would you drop your first official project? You remember what year that was?
My first project, oh, wow. It had to be before James Brown. Probably like around 1968.
1968 to 2025, how has the music business and the industry changed in your eyes?
Well, the music definitely have changed. The game of the business, you know, it's pretty much the same way, but it's encoded differently. You know, I've never been too up on the business end because I didn't grow up in that era. You know, I think that era came in really hard, like in the end of the 80s and the 90s. You know, Snoop and them, you know, they are the ones that was really making cash. You know, we was out there, you know, we was making top dollar for about 4 or 5 years, you know. But these mugs is like, they live in a dream now. You know, it's because they know, you know, it's all about the business, you know. I mean, they live and die for that, you know. Our whole thing was all about the music, period. It wasn't about the business, you know, so I can't speak on business too much, you know, other than James Brown was the first one that I was around that had that part down.
So getting back to the album,
Yeah.
what inspired you to name it what you named it, and yeah, what was the general inspiration behind that?
Well, you know, back in the day, we did the Player of the Year album. Since, you know, I knew, you know, it was like kind of like a joke on myself because I knew, you know, the funk wasn't gonna win nothing. I mean, you know, we never won any awards back in the day. Well, other than like the BMI and, you know, soul, you know, gold and platinum, you know. Other than that, you know, as far as Grammys, you know, any of that kind of stuff, the funk wasn't winning none of that. So I just called myself the Player of the Year and made the album cover that. And it's the same kind of approach. It's like funning on the system, the way things are. We already know, you know, y'all ain't gonna play us, you know, but this is the album of the year, #1 Funketeer. So, you know, once you say what you got to say, that's what it is, you know. And then you're gonna have to ask for it. You know, when you want to pick it up, I want that album of the year by the #1 Funketeer. You know?
Facts.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of answered it a little bit, but what's the message you want your fans to understand about this album?
Well, it's like you can do whatever you're feeling. You don't have to just fit into a category, you know, just because you've been successful at it. You know, you can really speak your mind, speak your heart, speak your soul. And so that's what I was aiming at doing this album. you know. And, you know, I just felt like I can pretty much get away with anything because of the clothes I wear. I get away with it, you know. And so it's like not being pegged down, you know, is a thing I want to kind of break and let people, special people, know that it's all right to be special. Different people to know it's all right to be different, you know. And if you look like you're crazy, that's all right too, you know. If you drink a little wine, hey, everybody do, every now and then, you know. So I just want to know, I just want people to know it's like an everyday thing. I'm an everyday dude. I just look crazy. Yeah.
And there's a track on the album called Why.
They call
Why?
why?
BTS Why? Is that correct?
BTS. Why? I don't know.
She said it's a song called Why. You want to talk about the inspiration on the song?
Oh, wait a minute. Tell me, spell it again.
WHY.
WH. Oh, why? Oh man, I never heard that song.
That question.
And why do you like to give back and do tribute songs for other artists? I know a lot of artists don't do that. So
That's why I like to do it, you know. And the main thing is, you know, it's like we living on the backs of others, you know, the ones before us. And I just kind of throw this stuff in here to try to let other people know that we all should be doing, you know, our part in letting everybody else know that we appreciate other people, you know, especially the ones before us, you know, even if you don't even know them, you know. To me, that's a cool thing to do, and I like doing it too.
I would say, what advice or what would you tell a kid that's coming up now and they want to get into funk? They don't want to do the traditional what's popular right now to their age group, but they want to bring back funk in their own way. What advice or something would you tell them?
Just be prepared for the rejection, you know, because you're going to get rejection. You know, my whole career has been built on rejection. And to me, that makes you stronger. You know, you have to get beyond the part of it hurting so much, you know. You just got to stand up and just be rejected and keep going, you know. And there's no manuals for that. You know, you just have to make up your mind and, you know, just go for it.
Any more questions? Mr. Collins, man, I appreciate you.
Well, you got to tell me one thing.
Yes, sir.
We got to find out why. I mean,
Find it out.
yeah. Can you find it? Why? It must be abbreviation for something.
This is what.
No, I was trying to hold this while you had me laugh.
Oh.
BTS Squad.
What is it?
And see if you can describe the song.
It's what?
BTS-Y.
BTS. What is it?
Pretty young thing or something. I don't know what that was.
Content BTS-Y.
Hmm.
Let Bootsy talk about the song, the inspiration, why he chose each artist. And, this is I would say just the
album.
Yeah, let's just say you can pick out a few songs, or just like the inspiration of each song or any song in particular, and then like why you picked certain artists to be on it. Blah, blah.
So that's why is there?
Yeah, it's just like why.
Oh.
Like why did you have? Well,
okay. Yeah, that's what.
Why didn't get this? Why do you have these people on it? Why did you choose to record it this way? Blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like you could kind of just run with that for a little bit and
Okay.
weave around if you want.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And you can start too, like I picked this person, I decided to use these instruments. Just
Yeah.
because a lot of people like those details.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Tell me when you're ready. Now, are we talking about one song or
I guess I would say if there's any song that you would particularly want to talk about?
Okay.
And it had like mean something to you?
Did anybody have the? Cause I mean, you know, it's hard to remember all the songs.
I think it's on the new album too. I think we're talking about specifically the new album.
Yeah, the new
Right,
project.
right.
You have a
I don't have a copy of it.
You do?
I don't.
Okay, well, okay. I can go.
Because I know how it is.
You
gotta
yeah.
draw.
You could also just like yeah.
Or if there are any features that you want to talk about, if Stoop was on it, or anybody that you can recall. You know,
Oh, okay.
those things.
Okay, so yeah, like features and why did I do certain songs, and you know, why did I pick certain people? Well, first of all, the whole idea I go in with a new album is you don't know who it's gonna be that you pick, you know. You just put it out there, you know, that this is what we're doing. And if somebody wants to join you, you know, I don't usually go for a specific person. I just have my ears open now to new people that's like on the internet. We run into each other, and I love to see like young people get excited, you know, and that draws me to having new and different people included with the giants that's out there, you know. So instead of just having the top names, I love to get the ones that's unknown to go in there as well, you know, so they can get noticed, because I know what that feels like. It's like being on the outside when nobody knows you and you're very talented, you know. So I like to pick some of those, you know, and I don't pick them. They always show up, you know. All you got to do is put the vibe out in your head and in the universe, and it works for me. That's how I do it, you know. And the people that I've worked with before, you know, if it boils down to it, we wonder what Snoop is doing now. Wonder what Ice Cube is doing, you know. Then you give them a call. Hey, would you like to, you know, check this track out, you know? And sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. But this time, it was yes, you know. And they killed it, you know. But I usually like to mix it up with known artists and unknown. I love that. Because, again, it gives you a connection, you know. You try to cut down on the gaps, you know. You get more, I feel more connected when I'm working like this, you know, instead of just, man, you need numbers, you need this, you need that. No, what I need is talent. Give me talent, you know, give me talent over numbers. And, you know, I know it's a stupid way to be as far as the world say, but for me, it makes me feel like I'm a part of the world, you know. And so that's the way I do it. That's wide. You got me with that one. It's like the song Wide. It's like, what? You got me. Oh, man. Yeah?
Yeah, I think we're good. Is there anything else you want to throw out there, the ether, the peoples?
I mean, if you touch on something, I mean,
I would say,
Hey, Daddy. I did. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he just finished.
I think we got one more.
Yep. Nah, who else y'all got left? Y'all got somebody left to
I think it's Tim. Is it Tim? No.
them. You got Tim,
Tim and
you know.
Larry.
They film, yeah, the same thing.
Yeah, they film the questions as well. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these next two cats, they've been down with the funk since day one.
He's just
I mean,
Jack.
yeah,
And that they
He on his way back.
locked in.
they know more about it than I do. That's for sure. I mean, 'cause I wasn't studying it. I was just in it.
Okay. So who you got over there? Okay.
So Kent,
Okay. No. All right.
yeah, he's in it.
Okay. Your wife says she's coming over here. Let's switch places with me.
Okay. I think we got one more.
And you got those two. Was it
Right, Tim and Larry.
They're coming over here to
Now?
Interview. Yeah, I think she's gonna come over here with you. I don't know what that means. Whatever it is, but
Okay.
I'm gonna go over there.
with them. Well, I've not met them yet,
Oh, okay.
but then they need to come over here
Right,
to do this interview.
right. Okay.
That's what I think I got.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Let's do that last one.
I guess the last question would be for all the new.
What she got?
That was her iPad.
Okay.
I was gonna say, for all the new artists, kids, OGs that are anticipating the album, I want you to just give like a little drop and just tell them what they can expect on the album. Honestly,
The ones that was actually on it.
no, so if it's somebody new, like if it's a 13-year-old who's scrolling and the album pops up in their feed, what is something that you want to tell them? Like, why would they listen to it?
Wow. Why would they listen to my new album? Well, first of all, I think you would be listening really to yourself because, it's like you are a transmitter and a receiver. And even though you can be different, you can also invoke change. And that's where I stand. I have been out here as a musician, a player, a vocalist, and wow. Oh man. Okay. Should I keep going? Yeah. Okay. And the main thing I guess would be, to understand that, the rejection thing I was talking about, you gotta get used to that early on, but then you gotta overlook that. And you gotta find yourself. You gotta continue to keep digging. And, it's a lot of stuff on this album that you can hear and you can feel. Because that to me is what we're missing. We're missing the part of you guys getting in there and being real with your music. Not just talking about what, you've seen on TV, but the experience, what you have experienced, because those things are real and they're not just happening to you. It's pretty much happening to everybody. So speak to a broad face of people, because if it's happening to you, it's probably happening to everybody else as well. And those are the things that you can write about. Write about the things that you feel, the things you see, the things you can't understand. Those are the things that needs to be talked about and discussed instead of, the phone at the dinner table and, just not paying nobody else any attention. To get back on track, you have to just kind of get into what you're hearing and what you're feeling, and that's what this album, I believe, will help you do. And tinfoil over and under. I love you on the water.